Conservative with a small c. No, no, no. I think this is a very awkward situation, and I think the people deserve some kind of explanation as to why this guy's been spending so much of our money.
100%. And, you know, do you remember when Michael Martin was the former Speaker?
Goebbels Mick.
He got a sort of quite indulgent, really, of MPs and expenses. And it took someone like Douglas Carswell, he was then a backbencher MP, who was really unafraid of anything. He was the one that sort of broke that consensus. But one thing, sort of dimension of this that I'm worried about, Kev, is that we've also looked at, when we've had some of our times together, we've looked at the huge expenses of Labour ministers, for example, on their flight bills.
Yes.
David Lammy and others, racking up huge amounts of money at taxpayers' expense when they said that they would cut these bills. Now, of course, a Conservative MP, a Reform MP, a Liberal Democrat MP, who now calls on the Speaker to have an emergency statement, for example, on the expenses of Labour ministers, is at the back of, you know, the Speaker's mind thinking, do I really want to grant this emergency question? Because if there's going to be sort of questions in the House about expenses abuse, are they going to be coming for me next? Will they come for me in that question period? So there's a real conflict of interest actually developing here that really needs to be exposed, because the Speaker may now be not granting emergency debates on matters of real public interest because he doesn't want the next person to be in line to be himself over his own expenses questions.
Indeed. Lots and lots of questions need to be asked, and as I say, it presents a real problem when the person in the frame is the Speaker, because we've got 650 MPs. I guarantee you every single one of them is going, what the hell is the Speaker doing in South Africa, St Helena, Australia, Los Angeles at the taxpayers' expense? What the hell is he doing? But not a single one of them will speak up against the man who calls them to make their speeches. So democracy is really being dished a disservice here.
Yeah, but there is an opportunity, I think, for one MP to actually look like, we would highlight him or her, wouldn't we? If they sort of stood up in the House of Commons and asked the questions that everyone's asking. You know, when we've had our discussions that we've had here on social media, the clips of these discussions have really taken off. People are very exercised by this question of what Sir Lindsay Hoyle has done. So one MP, that they may lose a bit of favour with the Speaker temporarily, but actually the public sort of support they might get for bravely asking questions that no other MP will ask, and we would give them the attention if they weren't called in the House of Commons. We would back them, wouldn't we? We would give them absolutely cover. So there's an opportunity. There's an opportunity for one MP to bravely come out and ask the questions we all want answered. 19
glamorous trips, always to nice places like the Caribbean. I went there twice, Los Angeles, Australia, Cayman Islands, as I said.